everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we are serving up a full dish of Peacock's exclusive #1 hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. I'm your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by people.
Justin, you can go first this week.
Oh, she is mad today. You know what? That's fine. I would like to introduce, first and foremost, one of the best hosts here at Dishin Days, an amazing guy, a stand up citizen. Um, just, I can't say enough about this person. Awesome, amazing, talented, friendly,
Yes.
and such a giver.
Oh,
Hey guys, Justin Hareld.
And then we have
a giver. You have me. I'm Michael Mattis.
who is already over this show due to our pre-show. Whatever, Michael Mattis, you can sit there and pout all you want because that just makes me poke the bear even more.
So we need to do Dishin Days after dark or something where we let you in on the goings on before we start rolling.
Dishin Days airing of grievances.
Oh, the things that go on before this show. But thank you guys for tuning in. And unfortunately, Araceli is not with us today. But she shall be back next Sunday to give you a full dish of next week's episodes of NBC Peacock's exclusive #1 hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Hey, it's like, what, week 3? It's going to take me a minute.
I know.
But it's important for you guys to make sure you follow us on on social media platforms. Ooh, we are now Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and now officially Dishin Days on Twitter. There's no more underscore, y'all. Yay!
Yay!
No more underscore for us, and the act is currently doing the dun, 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 dance. So make sure you guys go follow us if you haven't already. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are watching us live and you get to see my pretty face and Justin's pretty face and Michael, make sure you hit the subscribe. He's going to hate me after the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.
After the show.
Make sure you hit the bell notification so that way you never miss a live broadcast. And of course, we are available on all podcast stations. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Just search Dishin Days and you will hear our lovely voices as you walk along the path, unwalking, on a hike, at a picnic, or on a treadmill in your local gym. We will be there to serve up a full dish of Days of Our Lives. And of course, we got merch, y'all. You can buy things like this.
Oops. My bad.
Our Possessed t-shirt. Michael Mattis hates me all show. This is going to be a battle all day, but look at that. Okay. Thank you, Michael Mattis. You can also purchase many of these other logos that can be found on a t-shirt, a mug, a sweatshirt, a towel, anything you like. Just head on over to dishindays.threadless.com to purchase yours today. And that is, and also if you want your full fix of soaps, make sure you head over to JLJ Media on YouTube, where my chocolate twin, James Lott Jr., is giving you the full rundown of Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, and General Hospital. And also some original audio dramas. So head over to JLJ Media on the YouTubes to get your full soap fix. Now, what did we think of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives? Michael Mattis?
Oh, I'm first. This was
That's great. Justin,
this was an amazing week. It was a great week filled with exciting things happening in storylines, great performances, and just a phenomenal week.
I love that Michael Mattis paid no attention to me. He was like,
Justin, how did you feel about the week of Days?
Here we go. It's gonna be a good show today.
Shady Sundays. Who's gonna throw the most shade? Justin.
This week, I think the first half for me was really good. I found myself really into the Abigail stuff really into the Kayla, Marlena, Kate stuff. And then I felt like the second half of the week was more of a little bit of a letdown. It's kind of like seemed more like filler kind of thing. But I was interested in the first half primarily and really like gung ho about it more than I had been. I think both those storylines got a little bit of like shot in the arm.
Shot through the arm.
Shot in the face.
You can't speak. You give love a bad week.
Yeah.
I thought this week it was okay. I thought it was very. There were certain storylines that were actually very interesting and things that they chose to focus on, and then of course like things that like they want us to know or whatever. I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
But let's break it on down. It is now time for our favorite part of the show, besides our segments. It's now time to start.
Dishin Days.
We will pray about
I will say, I don't know if you guys listened to last week's. It was perfect. Of course, I wasn't there, but it was actually I think the last 2 weeks were actually on point.
I still have notes. Okay, anyway, let's start with the first storyline, which is Clyde, Chad, EJ, Belle, Sean, Jennifer, Jack, all of them. So this is basically, the continued story of Abigail's murder and the return of Abigail.
Mm-hmm.
Now that
so
we know,
basically we had the who and the what. Abigail got killed, but now we know the other who did it, the why, the how, all the other.
We got full details this week.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think as we got to see exactly what happened that night, moments before Abigail was killed? What were your thoughts?
I was fine with how it came out, and I was fine with who did it. We know that Clyde, we've had the suspicion for a while that Clyde, wasn't really on the straight and narrow as he seemed, and it just seemed kind of odd. And so Clyde being the killer made sense to me. What I would have preferred, though, and I told this to you guys, I would have preferred had we seen it happen like in real time, and then the storyline could have been how Clyde was able to cover his tracks all these months, and then maybe almost coming close to being revealed, and then how he set everybody else up to like almost take the fall, instead of having this another token whodunit, and then even the whodunit part, like we've been talking about it for months, it just hasn't been interesting. But finally we got the reveal, and maybe that's one of the reasons I was like okay with it, because it was finally like okay. But but also the person that they had be the killer made sense to me, so I was fine with it.
Yeah, I found myself really into it and into the explanation. I think because we had talked about previously, like because it was Abigail and it was someone who is sort of well liked on the show, and there really isn't anyone past or present that has had enough sort of grievance with her to actually want to kill her. So I think we were always sort of iffy about this, like who done it, and I think even before we sort of speculated that maybe it was, and this necessarily wasn't the case, but it may have been like an accident, or maybe people were struggling and it happened, kind of a thing. So I liked the explanation of where it led to Abigail, that she was just, it was really sort of wrong place, wrong time, really, and that Belle was the intended target. So I like that little bit of a switch, because that actually made more sense to me than if it was going to be Clyde. It made sense that he would go after Belle, and then he happened upon Abigail, and that's how it was. I think given the parameters, it made sense to me.
It just kind of felt like had Abigail stayed in her room and not kept questioning Clyde, she would still be alive. So for me, it kind of felt like you had to make this make sense instead of it actually making sense. Does that make sense? Like
I felt like they did make it make sense to me. They made it make sense,
right? Instead of it, because okay, here's the thing. Number one, we said in the beginning the whodunit never was quite catching on like it did with Charlie,
Yeah.
because it really was just kind of like, why is Abigail dead? Right? I think if you know behind the scenes stuff or whatever, maybe this is why they decided to kill Abigail. And again, we're just going on the journey. But when the explanation happened, it was it was one of those moments where you just kind of either wanted Abigail to stop questioning him, or just be like very observant and being like, okay, like what do you want? And okay, she's not here, so the door's here, instead of I'm calling the police and then going in, and then now he's in your room and now he's locked the door and now he done seen the knife, now there's a tussle, now you're stabbed. You know what I mean? Like it like all of a sudden it just turned into like, well, he couldn't find Belle and couldn't kill Belle, so he was going to kill somebody, and now that's just you. And for some reason, I couldn't like fully accept
No.
that. You know what I mean? Because there's all these now different scenarios where I'm like, well, she could have like got out, she could have escaped, she could have, just used her reporter instincts to maybe de-escalate the situation in some way. I also feel like in the beginning, they didn't know who they wanted to have as the killer. You know what I mean? It kind of gave them enough time to just kind of be like, all right, like now we're going to pinpoint it this way. So I don't know. It was just kind of like, okay, I'm happy not happy, but like it's good to know like what happened and how it happened and why. But it's still just kind of like,
Do you sort of wish the stakes would have been higher? Like there would have been more meaning to it? Is that what kind of like, as
Like
opposed
instead
to
of it just being like the wrong place, wrong time thing.
yeah, like I wish like it. I wish it was more accidental than
Mhm.
intentional. Does that make sense? Like I like maybe he thought he saw Belle and then went after it. It turned out to be Abigail, and he
Mhm.
didn't. Again, he didn't mean to kill Abigail. He meant to kill Belle.
Okay.
Instead of it being like this whole confrontational thing that actually really could have been avoided
Yeah.
in a way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But that's part of the tragicness,
Ness.
tragedious.
Tragic.
See, now I can't talk. But that's part of what makes it so tragic is that it was senseless. Like she
Yeah.
basically died. Like we're saying, being at the wrong place, at the wrong time. It wasn't. He didn't go there to intentionally kill her. She just happened to see him, confront him. But I think it was very in. I thought it was very in character for Abigail to confront him and to be like that. Oh no, you're not going to do this. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to get you out of here or what. I'm going to beat you basically. And unfortunately, that's what led to the, like you said, the confrontation. Did it need to go that way? No, but that's
That's just how
how
it
it
played
went.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, I will forever be a fan with open arms, and I will accept this. But it's just kind of like, oh man, like
Yeah.
was there anything else that could have happened? And listen, I appreciate that again, the history of everything and why Clyde did this was because um, EJ blabbed about Clyde being the one that shot him, and then him putting the bug in the house and like overhearing that he then told Belle, and him kind of you know getting like, oh no, like I'm going to be found out because now someone else knows, and then having that intention, but then when Abigail became involved, it was just kind of like, ugh, could you not have ran down the stairs? Could
Mhm.
you not have like is there did you
Yeah.
have to end up in your room where he like saw the knife and like was able to get to the knife and
Yeah. It was sort of like she underestimated how cruel he is. She
yeah.
was
Mhm.
it was like she was kind of challenging him where I think it was the glove part where she could have just sort of like made note of that and not said it out loud kind of a
Mhm.
thing and just let him go about his business because he was trying to really get out of the house. It was really when she kind of once he knew like she was onto him, it was like, okay, I'm good. It was like the switch of like, okay, I need to get rid of her because she's gonna make trouble for me now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah. Did you guys?
Hmm.
I thought he was dead. Like I was surprised about the whole. Once he was shot, I was like, okay, that's how they're getting rid of him. He's gonna
Yeah.
be dead. You
I
know.
thought he was going to be off. Yeah.
Reed, he was great on the show. Really liked him. Great actor. But I thought that's how it was gonna end. And especially when they were sort of like mocking him when he was dying.
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, this is like a really good scene. And then like, okay, so he survived now. Which the idea is he's going to Statesville, but you know he survived, so it's the potential now of we haven't fully gotten rid of this character. So,
well, yeah, and there's no. I think they even mentioned it like later in the week. There's no like, where's the proof that it was him other than
what he said
to Chad.
Well, there's the alibi thing they could get him on. I guess I think.
Oh well, true.
Where,
The alibi footage was doctored.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're leading, and I got kind of frustrated thinking about this. If we go towards he's going to get out of it somehow.
Yeah.
You know, and I did appreciate that it was EJ that is the one to shoot him. I was like, okay, this is good. This is like poetic justice.
Yeah.
He killed EJ, or was the one to initiate killing EJ years ago, and EJ was the one to shoot him this time, and that's another reason I thought, oh, they're killing him off, because it's like full circle. He killed EJ, EJ kills him.
Yep.
I love though when Sean and Belle got there, and EJ was just kind of like, you know, Belle's my attorney, or like I won't say anything, and then he was like, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't mind also representing my brother.
Yeah, I know, right?
And Chad was like, nope, I ain't got nothing to hide. But again, the scenes with Chad and Abigail.
I'm glad we got that. I'm glad they sort of wrote that in as like a official sort of goodbye or closure. I really like that.
Just kind of like her being like, stop being hurt. Let this go. You did it. You found my killer. Now you just have to like, you know, and it was also so gut wrenching to hear how Chad was just like, you know, I can't, like, I can't go on. Like, you know, and almost the thought of like, he was almost going to do harm to himself.
Yeah.
Because the grief was so tough. Yeah. And it's also hard because the past few months, it's been this roller coaster of, we caught the guy, we didn't catch the guy. We caught the guy, we didn't catch the guy. We caught the guy, we didn't catch the guy. And so to finally have like, you know, justice. And then to have, you know, Abby come in and just have those moments. I thought it was beautifully written. Yeah. I thought it was a great goodbye to Chabby. Yeah. I thought it was needed, you know, instead of
it's needed for the character to move, for Chad
to move forward.
To move. Yeah, exactly.
Is giving that permission to, there's nothing else you can do. Yep. And you have to be here for our children. Yeah. So let this go. And I thought, oh my God, the chemistry that Marcy and Billy have, and the moments that they had, and how connected they were, and how just heartfelt. Like when she appeared and he looked up, the first thing I thought was, I wonder if like method acting, if Billy was just like, I don't want to see you until you're in the scene. Yeah. And it was just this moment of like overwhelming emotions for him, you know. Oh, it was so good.
He's been killing it lately.
It was really good. So I'm trying to think. Say what?
Nancy and Clyde.
We had the scene with we had the scene first. We had scenes with Jack and Clyde. Once Jack found out what had happened, and then we had scenes with Nancy and Clyde, all of which were great.
Why do people keep allowing folks in that man's room? like when Jack figured out it was Clyde and that Clyde was at the hospital, what room number is he in? Jack, I can't do that. What's the room number? Oh, I'll take them.
I
I
I
feel
kind
like
of
it's
feel
because
like
they
they
feel like
almost wanted to give him the number. I felt like
exactly
they
they
weren't
wanted to
being
give
as stern as like they were kind of like, we can't give it to you. But I felt like they kind of really wanted to. Like, Jack, I know how you feel. Like,
well because
I
I think
wouldn't be surprised if they like slipped him a piece of paper, like you saw.
well, and it's like they all hate Clyde anyway. They're not doing
Yeah,
Clyde any favor. So if somebody, one of his victims, which Jack was a victim, Nancy was a victim, if one of his victims wants to go ream him a new asshole, then I feel like they were like, okay, yeah, go do it.
I'm just like, no, nobody can go in there like that. Like you that.
part of me
Like
felt like Nancy could have been lying though too. She was just
about what?
randomly like, the commissioner said I can come in, and then like and the guy was like, okay, come on in.
I mean,
It was
judging
also
by
awkward that guy that officer was in there the entire
He
time,
stood in the frame.
just
I
like
thought that was funny. I was like,
I was like, that's awkward.
well, judging by the fact that Rafe was just almost going to let Jack go in, it's kind of like who else wants to talk to Clyde?
yeah,
Go ahead. I did feel really bad for Nancy, and I felt her when as she was talking, and she really had legitimate questions,
Hmm.
yeah,
because here's the thing: someone commented that, of course, Clyde chose Nancy because Nancy has money and comes from money, and Clyde is all about that, whatever, whatever. But just like Nancy, I had those same questions too of like, did you ever really love me? Like, was this
Hmm.
like what exactly was this? I don't know. I don't feel like we ever really got an answer because the way he was just so kind of like, okay, well, go ahead and
yeah.
read me the right act because I know that you're mad. But I'm interested to know from y'all, do you think that Clyde was in love with Nancy or he was just kind of playing along?
I think,
Yeah.
hmm, I think in some respects, yes, the feelings were real. If that, but I don't think that was his intent to begin with. I think he was partially like using her to go on this like redemption period, like, oh look, I'm dating Nancy Wesley. She thinks I'm a good guy. So that was part of his act, I guess. But then maybe somewhere along the lines he actually did, you know, maybe not fall fully in love with her, but did develop feelings for her, maybe feels a twinge of guilt about it. And maybe that's why he was so kind of dismissive when she was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I would say before that hospital scene, like yeah, he really does love her and he's trying to be a better person. And even though he could sort of get pulled back into sort of the criminal stuff, I think primarily he wants to be a better person and really did care for Nancy. But then that hospital scene I thought was really strange. I was going to bring that up right before you did. It was really strange. I thought he wasn't really like asking for forgiveness. He wasn't apologetic to her. He was just kind of like, oh, okay, like yell at me and, sorry, Nancy. It was really weird. So I don't know if that was trying to like give us a clue that he wasn't in love with her or if that was more of like he's like disappointed in himself or like he knew he blew up that relationship, so it was like whatever. I don't know. It sort of left that scene sort of left me a lot more
The
confused.
context behind his attitude is a question mark.
Yeah, exactly.
I I will say the only reason why I think there were feelings for Nancy is because when Clyde was talking about who to get revenge on,
Mm,
and he mentioned that Chloe was listed on there as well. And he said, well, I couldn't do anything to Chloe because
This
of
is Nancy.
Nancy.
that's
So
right.
that made me feel like there was some sort of love for Nancy
Yeah.
because if he didn't care, he would
Mhm.
have went after Chloe, whatever,
Yeah.
with no
Sure.
disregard. So I feel like it's another. I feel like Clyde is another Aiden. I
Mm,
feel like I feel like he's one of those characters that you thought who had a rough past and did like some kind of devious things, but not anything like as devious as like a DiMera.
mhm.
That you thought that like once pardoned would have like a redeeming quality and would kind of be like a Victor Maggie kind of situation where
Yeah.
the love of such a wonderful woman would kind of soften him a little. But then,
The
of course,
only thing that makes Clyde different was what he did to Jordan. And then, like, I don't remember Aiden, like, actually, I think he attempted to kill Hope.
Yeah.
Clyde's a little bit more, like, Clyde came on. See, the difference between Aiden and Clyde is Aiden came on as a good guy and kind of had some skeletons in his closet, but nothing like Clyde has done. So, like, so with Aiden, it was easier to like root for him for redemption than Clyde. Like, and I keep saying this before when when Clyde and Nancy were together. Like, I didn't like that. I liked it. I didn't like that they had chemistry because he was such a shithead.
Mm-hmm.
But now she knows he's a shithead, and she can hopefully heal and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Nancy. And I'm so glad to see that she has her good friend Bonnie.
Yes.
To be there for her. I do love their friendship, and I was kind of like, oh, because Bonnie took so much pride in like putting Clyde and Nancy together and being able to kind of help Nancy, get her groove back, only to find out that Clyde's a killer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did like Bonnie's perspective of being like, let's not judge too soon first. I think she really wanted that for Nancy, but also like she was internalizing it herself of like, she's not as bad as Clyde, but she was like, it wasn't that long ago that I was the town pariah too. So maybe let's not rush to judgment kind of a thing. So I like that perspective, at least her being like, hold up a minute. Let's kind of see how this plays out. But.
Yeah. Jennifer. Lord Jesus.
First
of all, Katie McLean, not Katie, Katie McLean.
Yeah.
Let's call her Katie. Katie McLean she's doing such an amazing job. And listen, I know you guys are like, oh, I wish it was Missy. But she is doing such a good, like, you get it. You understand her grief and how she's trying to mask it.
Yeah.
Not for her benefit, but for the benefit of everyone else. She's trying to be strong for everyone else, right? Mm-hmm. Her scenes with Marcy Miller, Abigail, I thought it was so eerie that she like never spoke.
Mm-hmm.
And then she did and then we saw the blood. And then now she's in the car.
Yeah.
Now, do y'all think she hit Gwen?
Oh, she definitely hit Gwen.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
You think they're going to try to pull a switcheroo?
Like it was someone else?
Like they're leading us to believe it was Jennifer, but it actually wasn't? I mean, I feel like it's going to be like the drama, like it'll make for better drama if it was actually Jennifer that mowed her over and not like some we think it was Jennifer because now Jack, put the pieces together when he was talking to Gwen.
Yeah.
And I think it was Jennifer.
I just imagine, that meme of like someone driving a car and they hit someone and it's just very nonchalant. That's how I pictured Jennifer.
Yeah, probably.
Like she was just driving and was just like,
because it feels like she doesn't even remember hit. I mean, she was out of it. She doesn't even remember hitting anyone. Or if I'm assuming she did. I think she did just because also it'll sort of like, it's kind of evens the playing field a little bit with Gwen. I think it sort of gives her a little bit more of a push into that family now. If Jennifer has now hit her, I was actually surprised though nothing came of it. Really, I thought Gwen was gonna wake up with amnesia. I thought Gwen was going to wake up and know it was Jennifer and either
that's what I thought. I thought she was going to know it was Jennifer. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh, she woke up and it was like, oh, she's fine. I was kind of like, oh, okay.
But who's going to look at the tape seeing as how she was right outside Salem PD?
I know. Yeah.
If maybe they'll pull that, there was a problem with the recorder there was a problem with the recorder and it didn't get
But kudos to seeing outside of Salem PD and City Hall. Like I feel like I haven't seen those two. So kudos to Tom and the production team crew for giving us new sets and
Yeah.
new areas instead of implied. We actually
Yeah.
so and for some reason I have to say I do like the outside of Salem PD, but now it's stained with the fact that Gwen got hit.
Stained with the blood of
And she must have flew because think about it. She walked out of Salem PD. She took like several steps,
Yeah.
and then when they found her, she was back there in the corner.
Yeah.
So
She was
she
on like
flying-
the
she was-
other side of the door. Yeah, she definitely.
Do you guys remember that quote from Drop Dead Gorgeous? Where
uh-uh.
she went flying through the air like a goddamn lawn dart.
Well, you know what?
She
Well,
went
that was
flying through
Gwen.
the-
That was Gwen. That was definitely her.
Yeah.
I was the part of this that surprised me, and I know that they have hearts and they're good people or whatever, but Xander and how he treated Gwen, like I don't remember them having like
Yeah.
maybe it happened, I don't remember it, like having like okay, we're putting let bygones be bygones, we're putting the past behind us. I don't remember that. The last scene I remember them in was at Sarah and Xander's wedding at the house when he was like, what the hell are you doing here? And I felt like there was still animosity, but then suddenly he's like by her bedside and like being like her, not caretaker, but like being very sensitive with her. And so that kind of surprised me. Like I would understand like concern maybe, but like, and then Sarah's just kind of in the back, just kind of watching it and having no reaction.
Surprisingly,
I actually
Yeah,
really
exactly. Yeah.
To me, I thought that was more of like that was more of like a point of Sarah and Xander being like, we're a married couple now, we're solid, like we're not worried about
We don't
Gwen,
need to
so we can
hate
kind
you
of show
anymore,
her
yeah.
grace, or we can be kind to her in this moment, kind of thing. So I actually like that it wasn't a jealousy thing, and I like when he said when Xander was like, I'm gonna go by your side because Jack isn't here, and Sarah was like, I'll take you. It wasn't like we didn't get like a pause from her, because the last few times Sarah's been a little iffy about stuff like that. So I was actually glad that it wasn't Sarah gets jealous again, or
It was
Sarah
nice.
might
It was
really
nice. I was
room.
surprised, but it was kind of nice to see, like, like, oh, it was kind of like the oh.
Yeah.
And then Gwen's face as she tries to remember. Do you not remember who hit you? And then it's
But that's also why I kind of thought she was going to wake up with amnesia, since she saw Xander, and it was going to be like maybe she forgot the last year or something, or she was going to pretend. I don't know. I thought something more was going to come from that, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah. And that is pretty much it with that storyline, right? Am I missing anything?
I think there was a lot, but
Yeah.
I think we got everything.
Yeah.
I think so.
I was really on Jack's side though when Clyde started going in on what a slut Abigail was. I was like, okay, Jack, you can kill him. Because Jack, and no shade to Matthew Ashford, but sometimes like he gets a little huffy and puffy, like especially like we were talking about way back when in scenes with Jamie Lynn Bower. I was like, he doesn't need, I was like, okay, you don't need to like be screaming at her, but I get being angry. But then once Clyde started going in, I was like, okay, he can do whatever he wants. He can beat the bitch. Yeah.
Your slut of a daughter mess with my boy.
My man.
My boy.
My man who looks like Alex Kyriakis.
I ain't your daddy, boy. Boy. All right. Well, let's move it right along to EJ, Stefan, Gabby, and Li. Will somebody give EJ a job at DiMera Enterprises? Like, when I tell you this
He
man
literally is just
working
walking around, just like popping in on everybody's business, and because he has no business of his own, so
right, just thirsty for trying to snag up the CEO chair. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Has a question for you. What I was thinking when I was watching that, has anyone mentioned that Gabby and Stefan were married before Stefan died. Mm-hmm. Now that Stefan is still alive, they're still married, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that been mentioned?
He did.
He mentioned
it has been mentioned.
So he mentioned it when they came into the office and he asked for the and then EJ
the shares.
And then they asked for the shares. He also mentioned like he was going to get this divorce like
Yeah.
very quickly. So it was mentioned.
Oh,
But
Stefan told Gabby he filed divorce papers. Okay, I
yeah,
missed
but
that
I'm
part.
also just kind of like I really, you know what? I really wish this. I really wish, and maybe it's something we should start. I want to know the clerk who had to file the divorce papers and realize,
Oh,
sir, you've been dead for 4 years.
oh it's
Like how does
yeah.
how
How
does
does all
that
that work? Yeah.
like you were declared dead, you were in the crypt. 4 years later, you want to come and file for a divorce? I'm just gonna say that it happened when you died.
It was probably the same clerk who had to revoke his death certificate to be like, I'm alive. Like
Can you just
I can move in the world.
can you imagine the worker who's there who's like on the phone like, yeah, girl, yeah, hold on a minute, and what's the name? DiMera. First name Stefan. Okay. Well, sir, what we gonna have to do first is revoke your death certificate.
First,
And then, so you're alive, is what you're saying? Okay. Well, I'm just gonna put the note here that you're now alive, and now you want to file for divorce. Okay. Hold on, girl. Hold on. Okay. All right. Well, we'll get that started for you. Okay, girl. How about the dead man done come in want to file for divorce, honey? like, it's
It's Salem. She's probably ran into a few of those. Right?
there's probably
that's
some old lady who still takes smoke breaks every 10 minutes and like hates her life, is all dried up, and is just like sitting down like, oh, god damn.
At least it's interesting. Yeah.
oh, or remind me of the old woman who's been in Salem since like days started.
Yeah, right.
Hand me your paperwork.
Right.
Another DiMera alive. I tell
Exactly.
y'all
She's
what,
seen it all. Yeah.
y'all got 10 lives. The cat got 9. Y'all got 10. How many more times you want to come back, sir? Is your daddy around? Oh,
Is your daddy?
Hang on, I gotta
Is
get
he back
more
from
paper
the
for the
dead?
file.
like what is going on?
Oh,
But I don't. How do you guys feel? I don't know how to feel about this storyline.
me too. I'm kind of like, I think I think since Brady's with Chloe and we've had it's sort of like the Nicole and Eric thing. Wait,
Giuseppe.
I can't.
Oh goodness.
Oh god.
I like how we were really very much trying to figure out who Giuseppe DiMera was, and the answer is we made it up.
Y'all don't understand how I Google searched that. Like I literally paused the episode so that I could spell it correctly. And then I even posted on our social media like, does anyone know who Giuseppe DiMera is?
Yeah.
And then when I find out it was just made up just for having people in the crypt, I felt so stupid. like I was just like that. Go ahead, Justin. What was you gonna say?
Yeah. I was gonna say if Chloe wasn't with Brady, I'd be more into this storyline because I actually did like Chloe and Stefan, thought they were sort of an interesting pair. But similar to like the Eric Nicole thing, it's like I just want Brady now that they're together, just keep them together for a while. I don't want another musical chair with that couple. It's like, pretty soon next Philip's gonna come back in 3 months. It's like give them more things to do other than breaking them up.
Well, but the other interesting thing, and I know that we have this part in our tidbits, but we can just kind of include it in now. There's a couple things, right? I really want Kristen just to leave Brady and Chloe alone. Yeah. Like you and Brady are not going to happen. And now, I'll kind of mention this now. Now with the whole orchid thing, my first thought was, oh Lord, she's going to use that. I'll elaborate more when we get into that.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were using this whole thing of like, it's your birthday today, Chloe. Yeah, it is my birthday. Did anyone remember?
No.
Well, considering what my mom is going through and Brady's hearing, like, I can understand that maybe they might have forgot, but yeah, no one remembered.
I do not care.
I remember Cody.
I don't care what your mother is going through, at least in my experience, that first phone call every morning on the birthday is mom.
Listen,
So
the house could be burning down. You gonna get a
exactly.
text or a phone call saying happy birthday.
And she'd
Now
be
I'll
like,
be back. Got to throw some water on the fire.
yeah, exactly. Like,
So
like it was very like that whole birthday thing. I was like, no, your parents would not have forgotten your birthday. Brady, maybe I could
no,
buy,
but
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 your parents, no.
but here's the
Despite what
thing.
they're going through, Craig wasn't going through that much,
Yeah.
so and
He
he's
could have
still in
left.
town.
Assuming he's still in town. But here's my thing. Um, you have full custody of Rachel. I get that, like Marlena, whatever. But the second you woke up and looked at Chloe,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
you didn't think like, "Happy birthday, babe,"
yeah.
and then maybe go down the street and
Mhm.
like buy her something or bring her breakfast in bed or something. Like you just forgot. Like you just woke up like it's any other day. Like, gotta go deal with Salem stuff,
Yeah.
and then just like left. So I don't know. I think this was Days' way of kind of getting into Chloe's heart just a tish.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I appreciate though that Brady and Chloe are steps ahead of this plan. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And we talked about last week when they sort of put it together. And I like that the first thing sort of Chloe said was like, don't try me. I'm in a committed relationship. Like you can come in and what's in the bag, it looks cute, but like here's
Yeah,
where we stand.
And,
So I
and Kristen
again,
knows that, and that's why.
we'll see how things progress. But I appreciate that they're coming from that stance to begin with.
yeah,
Yeah. And Kristen knows that, and that's why she wants Rolf to scramble her brain too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Rolf is like, lady, like, I can't just scramble brains. I got bigger shit to fry,
yeah.
bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
And okay, y'all know how much I love me some Li Shin. But when I tell you that man's stupid, don't keep going over to Chloe's room trying to figure out what's the tea is
Oh
with
yeah,
Stefan and all that. Like even
it's like
Chloe
it's
was
so
like,
transparent.
Chloe was literally looking at him like, "You are in my business.
Yeah.
Don't do that."
I kind of like that. Yeah, that was another part where Chloe was like, "Okay, why are you? I'm suspicious of you. Now I'm sort of onto you here."
Yeah, yeah. It's like there is superstition. Um,
Yeah.
and again, I still just don't like. Gabby's also going through something because she's twirling around her old ring with Stefan and hiding it every time someone walks in, and it's almost like how their relationship started, right? Didn't they have like a
Yeah.
hate you
Yeah.
relationship?
Yep.
Right now they're in the hate stage, and then it's like all of a sudden it's gonna be like, I love you. I honestly love that you. Sorry, Chloe. Because Stefan and Chloe were like all of 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't like they're kind of rewriting that it was some great love, and it wasn't. It was very brief, and I remember when she caught Gabby and Stefan together, and we
Mhm.
were all like, I was just like, okay, then
Yeah, like it didn't have
it
the
wasn't that big a
impact of
deal.
like yeah, a solid couple being cheated on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I did appreciate that they did address Stefan's care for Abigail
Yeah.
Mm.
and kind of like, his kind of like, yeah, that moment of like, yeah, that was rough and confusing because she wasn't Abigail, she was Gabby.
Mhm.
That just that moment, just acknowledging that moment,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think was also important because it also kind of, you know,
It was important. I'm surprised they actually decided to go there, being how like controversial it was.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, they're bringing that up. Okay.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm yep, yep. All right. So speaking of the orchid, we have John, Marlena, Roman, Kate, Steve, Kayla, Kristen, Rolf, Rex, and Stephanie. Note to parents: tell your children things. Don't
It's
hide
it's
things.
It's very true to life, though. Your
It is.
parents will not tell you shit, and you'll learn about it later, and it's so infuriating.
Granted, my mother tells me everything,
Mhm.
Okay.
and she follows it up with, "I'm going to tell you because my children should know."
Mhm.
I'm like, "This is great, love it."
Mhm.
My dad, may he rest in peace, was the kind of parent who withheld information, thinking that it was for the betterment of kids.
Yeah.
And then I would find out, and I'm like, no, we need to know. Like, you
Yeah.
should have just told us.
We're
Mhm.
grown. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
And
grown.
so when Stephanie was having her moment, I'm like, girl, I get it. Like, and she's like, oh, so what? So then, like, you got tested. You still don't know what's wrong with her. So at what point are you going to tell me?
Yeah, when the parents are admitted to the hospital and like they're trying to find a cure for this disease that they don't have a cure for, that's the time to sort of you can tell people at that point. Like early on, I sort of get it, maybe not wanting to worry, but at that point, it was like, yeah, you can let the cat out of the bag here.
But I'm going to tell you what I really love about this storyline. I'm starting to realize I love history. And I
Mhm.
love the fact that this is the same drug
Yep.
with the same symptoms that Roman had 25 years ago.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's like, for me, it's kind of like, wow, like, oh my gosh, you guys, like that's amazing. Like, that's so good. And then
Hmm.
even John bringing up, yep, Hope and I had to go through the jungle, and it was a bitch to like find this specific orchid in order to like say, like, I love that stuff because
Hmm.
it also says we're not pretending like something didn't happen or
Yep.
that something can't come back around. But then when Rolf was like, yes, Roman had it, there's an orchid. Oh, yeah. Oh, I wish my plant was here.
Right.
Here's that orchid. The second
Here's the orchid that some PA had to run and buy at Target or Whole Foods that they're passing off as something exotic from a jungle. But yes.
but the second I saw it presented to Kristen, I thought, here she
Well,
go.
yeah,
She
there
gonna
she
use
goes.
this. She gonna use this as a way to be like,
Yeah.
Brady, if you want your precious mother Marlena,
Yep.
well, stepmother Marlena to be saved, you have to give me Rachel.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, of course. Of
Totally
course,
see
that's where
that.
this is
And
going.
you know that's gonna happen. And,
Yeah.
when that happens, I'm a
Yeah. I'm with you, Tony. That's where the storyline got interesting for me because I didn't even put it together until they started mentioning it. I was like, oh yeah. And ironically, that's what brought Josh Taylor to the show.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That was his first storyline. Where actually Kristen, to bring it full circle, Kristen's the one who brought him back actually,
Hmm.
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
in sort of
To break
medical
up John and
to
Marlena's
break up
wedding.
John and Marlena. Yeah.
Oh, was that the
And
infamous scene where they wheeled him in on the
Yep.
wheelchair?
Yeah, that was that. Yep. That was
Kristen
the
also
beginning of
went
this.
jungle hunting.
Yeah.
It was John, Kristen, Hope, and Stefano, maybe.
I think yeah.
I remember seeing that soap opera magazine cover with the 4 of
Mhm.
them in like jungle gear, and I kind of thought I was like, "What?" I remember back then just thinking like, "What is this? What's going on?" That also led to the return of, I think, led to the return of Peter and
Mhm.
the introduction of Jungle Madness.
Oh
Mm.
yes, that's right. Oh god, the Jungle Madness, the plot that keeps on giving
Yeah,
every 10
Welcome
years.
to the jungle. We got the madness games. We got
everybody had Jungle
everything you
Madness.
want, even a brand new
Celeste had
name.
it. Mm.
Um, but I mean, I, I like it. I like nostalgic things. I like playing into the history of things. I like when things come full circle around like that. So, but of course, it's a huge eye roll to be like, "Ugh,
Yeah,
Well,
always in the wrong hands."
why did Rex have to be the one to figure it out?
I was gonna say
Who had like who wasn't even alive then? Who wasn't even however they were formed? Who?
well, they referenced that too. I thought that was
They did.
cute. I actually like
Mhm.
that when he sort of referenced that about Rolf, and I don't know. I know you're not a Rex fan, but I like when they use him intermittently. It's like it makes sense of like we always say, like bring people back for special things
Mhm.
or interesting.
And I guess maybe it made sense that they had an outsider, like someone to look at it with a, like he has stakes in the game because Kate's his mom, but like John's so distraught about it. Steve's all going after Orpheus and kind of distracted. So maybe it makes sense that it was someone who kind of came in with a pair of fresh eyes to put those pieces together instead of having it be John or, well, Hope's not there, Stefano's not there, or Kristen. But they didn't really downplay Kristen's involvement, or they didn't really mention Kristen's involvement in the first iteration of this at all. So so yeah, maybe it made sense, but
well, at least we know there's a cure. Now we're going to see.
Salem is not short of tanning oil or tanning solution.
So we'll see how this all plays out. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Michael Mattis. The reason why they gave it to Rex was because they had to show you that he does have smart moments. Nothing, Nancy Pelosi.
Good for Rex. Proud of him. Bless his heart.
And I do like that Roman brought Rex in, to be there for Kate. Because
I do need reminded that they're like mom, son, father. Like they are a family.
Because I forgot.
That's always good for a reminder.
I literally was like, "Who is Rex's daddy?" And I'm like, "Oh, duh, dummy, the man that brought him there." Duh. I do watch the show, guys. I promise. I do watch the show. You know what's funny
is that so much to remember.
There is. It's so funny because I was driving home one night, and I randomly was thinking about Days, and like I was like, I don't remember. Mess.
Oh, that was good.
I was trying to remember like a lot of the different storylines, and I was like, I don't remember nothing.
No, it's so funny. It's like when that scene where he walked into the hospital and he goes, "Hey John, hey Uncle Steve," and I was like, "Uncle Steve." It took me a minute to like get like, oh yeah, Kayla's his aunt and Steve is his uncle. Yeah.
See, and you know what? That's why they have lines like that for even us who watch every day to be like, okay, well, oh yes.
We need to remind these people. We need to remind viewers how these people are related.
Yeah, exactly.
Look who's related.
All right, so
instead of having James Lott Jr. pop up and be like, so. Like a pop-up video, but it's James Lott Jr.
Can you imagine pop-up video with James at the look who's related? See, Rex is related to Steve because through Kayla.
Actually, like James wouldn't pop up. We would phase out, and it would go full screen to James Lott Jr. in a board, and him explain, and then it'll go back to you guys, and he'll pull it down, and we'll come back down. Smart. All right, so those were your top storylines of this week. We are now going to go into our one tidbit. But before we do, just a reminder, you guys, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and officially Dishin Days on Twitter. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also make sure you buy our merch. Yeah, that's one of them. Go to dishindays.threadless.com for all of your merchandising needs. That announcement brought to you by the fine folks here at Dishin Days. All right, so Lord, Johnny, Allie, Chanel, Ava, EJ.
This was messy.
I'm over,
and like not in a good way, not in an entertaining way. Huh? Say again?
I said I'm over the Johnny Chanel. I feel like I thought we crossed I thought we were over the hill on this storyline. I thought we like made a stride to like, and we're back to square one again with that.
Yeah.
Only difference is now Trip isn't there. Like that's the only difference. We're having the same argument again.
But I tell you what though, I know who appreciated that scene more than anybody.
I wasn't mad at it.
But someone pointed out They were like, "Why is Johnny sleeping on the couch? Don't they have a 2-bedroom apartment?"
Henry's in the other room. Listen, Henry
Uh-oh.
finally got his own room, okay? After sharing with Holly.
I'm trying to remember because that apartment has changed. That apartment has changed hands quite a few times, and so because now it's Nicole. It's technically Nicole's apartment, right?
Yes,
She gave it
but
to
no, she moved out
over,
when she. Oh, because she's married to Rafe now, right?
but remember, Allie lived there with her and Eric. Allie wasn't on the couch.
I think it was, it's supposed to be a 2-bedroom, but I'm assuming Henry has his own room.
But Henry is how old? Oh, he's probably like 1, 2.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So then Henry couldn't go in Chanel and Allie's room, and then you see what I'm saying?
Well, he needed to be on the couch so Chanel could ogle him.
Yeah.
I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate how Carson Boatman, aka Johnny DiMera,
11.
looked?
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, there was no hesitation.
I've made this very clear.
You want to make it? I'm Michael Mattis, and I'm here to make it clear.
Would have preferred that, a lighter color of that, but,
And see, and hence why it was not a lighter color.
They did it with Rob.
Not somebody giving him an 8.
Oh, 8 inches maybe.
Someone said Carson Boatman. Okay. Listen, here's the thing. I really thought we were over the whole wondering, questioning if Allie is still into Johnny.
Chanel.
Who? Yes.
Chanel.
Sorry, Chanel. Sorry. I just think now it's just them bickering at each other to figure out who can, overpower who. And Chanel's just kind of like, she still got eyes, so she woke up in the morning like, hey, all right, Johnny, I remember that. And then Johnny and Ava still playing up their little romance, and EJ being like, "Come move back in the house." I would have been like, "No, move back in our house with you."
That'd been any more obvious.
Yeah. All right.
I feel like they don't know where they're going with that whole
with Johnny and Ava.
Any of them yet.
So yeah,
you know what I mean. It just seems like this is like filler right now.
Yeah,
could be.
So we'll see what happens, but.
All right. Well, that was your week of days, and now it's time for our segment, and we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Oh, snap! All right. So I had to give my 3 snaps to just the most beautiful, loving closing moment between Billy Flynn and Marcy Miller, Chad and Abigail. I thought these scenes made you cry, made you feel, made you want to hug. And it was just a beautiful closure to a tragic moment. Mm-hmm. So, Billy Flynn, Marcy Miller, Chad and Abigail. As our last time, as we know, as Chabby, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. It was in a heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aww. She looks so gorgeous too. Shout out to Marcy Miller. Hey.
Yes. He's a boo.
All right. And now it's time for
Caption That.
All right. This caption that photo comes courtesy of John and Brady in the hospital chapel. And this week's caption goes to Joe Costantino on Twitter with his caption of John saying, "I love you, kid, but Paul's still my favorite." And shout out to Eric Martzoff, who put his hat in the game with his caption, "Son, you wear more purple than Prince and the Joker combined."
Although purple looks great on
It
him.
does look good.
Yeah.
They need to pan down a little bit so we can see that Brady curve.
Right.
I still will never forget we talked about it so much because Eric Martov watches the show, and I remember seeing him at an event and he was like, "So what is the Brady curve?" And little old me had to explain to him through photo.
While looking him in the eye.
I was like,
or not.
I was like, you see this? That's the Brady curve.
Yes.
You're welcome. And of course we oh yeah. Now it's time for
Those were the days.
I love that you caught it. This week, I'm taking you guys to September 29, 2003, where we had the death of Abe Carver from the Salem Stalker, aka Marlena, which would eventually become the Mela Swan storyline. Which, by the way, let me go into this just for a minute. Which most people, I know people know, was a retcon that when they killed half of the cast back in 2003. They were killing half of the cast to get rid of, trim the cast. And it was Alice Reed and Matt Ashford who sort of blew it up and basically revealed that they were fired because everyone thought they were bringing them back, which they eventually did, of course. But it was from basically fan outrage that Abe came back. All those people who were quote unquote killed off were invited back to the show. So when people think they don't have enough power or they don't have a say so, like, and this was before Twitter, this was before social media. So yeah, you do have an influence out there enough back then in 2003 to get half of the cast employed again.
Rehired, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
I'm sure with a renegotiated contract.
Mela Swan, New Salem storyline. So yeah, September 29, 2003, when Abe Carver was killed as the first victim of the Salem Stalker.
And
those were the days.
I still remember when that storyline was happening, me trying to figure out what was happening with the cast because they were killing off so many people. And I do remember talking to people years later that like everyone was worried because no one knew what was happening. No one knew what was going on. They were killing off characters and of course not telling them, what was the end game and everything like that. So
and I remember when Abe was killed till they eventually brought him back, that was a little over a whole year. So this was like a whole year of storyline because he was the first victim.
Yeah.
So when they eventually sort of revealed the New Salem storyline, it was a whole year later.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Thinking you were fired and then
it happens.
Yeah.
We do not have It's a Gift because It's Araceli is not here. So we will be back with that next week. But for now, let's give you a little bit of news and gossip.
Ding, 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 ding. You gotta
Oh my gosh.
Right?
I keep forgetting.
Soundbite, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What am I thinking? Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for news and gossip.
We're starting off with Nadia Bjorlin, aka Chloe Lane. She has a new movie coming out called Nothing Is Impossible. Premieres Thursday, October 6th on the Pure Flix network. This is one of those sort of sports movies where the older athlete sort of decides to get back in the game and try out for like a major sports team at sort of just below middle age sort of status. And I think Nadia plays not the team owner, but like a team representative for some. She's heavily featured in the trailer. So yeah, this is definitely sort of she's a co-lead in the movie. So yeah, go check it out. Thursday, October 6th, premieres on Pure Flix, the streaming service. Yes. Next up, we have some casting news for one of our favorites, the iconic Marla Gibbs, aka Olivia Price. She's been cast for a multiple episode arc on Grey's Anatomy this season. She's playing the grandmother of one of the new surgical interns this season. And new season starts Thursday, October 6th, Grey's Anatomy. Check out Marla Gibbs this season. last but not least, some more casting information. One of our favorites, Vincent Irizarry, who looks like he has made a full recovery from his sort of that tragic sort of accident he found himself in almost a year ago. But yes, he is back to working again. He is reprising a role he did a couple years ago on this show called Wild West Chronicles. They're in the 3rd season now. He originated a role of Judge Isaac Parker in the 1st season. He is now back in the 3rd season. It is actually streaming on Peacock, and the show is about basically chronicles first Black U.S. Marshal after the Emancipation Proclamation. So good for him. Yeah, good to see him sort of back up and working again. And yeah.
Congratulations, Vincent.
Yeah.
And also, just a reminder, you can check out Trevor Donovan, who played Jeremy Horton. He is still on Dancing with the Stars. And also, this past Friday, Mark Hapka's movie on Tubi, Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, premiered this past Friday. So if you have Tubi, check him out as Johnny Depp and the recreation of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
It premiered already? I thought it was just announced.
Yeah.
Oh, they got that done quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They sort of announced it after they had filmed it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need to read more. I need to read better.
Well, you can only do what you can.
True.
And with that, that has been your news and gossip. All right. Now it's time to give you a sneak peek into what's happening next week on Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives.
Oh my God, Mike Horton.
They've got history.
I should try being with someone else that I already like a lot.
They've got chemistry. And they've got biotoxic poisoning causing rare deadly infection, all at the hands of a vengeful asshat.
Orpheus.
The orchid can produce a cure. However, that orchid is now extinct.
Good luck with the orchid, honey. It would be a shame if you were to die.
Days of Our Lives, streaming now on Peacock.
Ass hat.
Can I just say I get tickled seeing Kristen watering the orchid?
No, right. It's gonna be like Little Shop of Horrors vibes, yeah.
It's very that. Like all of a sudden she's gonna turn around and be like, suddenly see more. Yay, Mike Horton is back.
Yeah.
I love that. That's good. Well, I mean, and I also think it's too soon for Chad and Stephanie, but we'll see how that unfolds.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I wonder if that's a fake out.
Yeah. It could be like a dream or a what if.
Or like Alex is coming, I need to throw him off. Would you kiss me?
Yeah. So everyone calm down. Everyone on Twitter that's like, it's too soon for Chad to be moving. Why are they doing like watch the show and see what happens?
Well, I'll be tuning in because I signed up for Peacock.
So did I. I got the 1 year. Well, it's not, we can't promo that anymore because it's October now.
Yeah, just to finish.
But I took advantage of the $20.
$20 here.
$20 for a year.
Yeah. You're smart. Smart man, Michael Mattis. Smart man.
I tried.
Justin, did you sign up too, or?
Yeah, I was already on Peacock. Unfortunately, when you were already a previous member, you cannot get the deal. So yeah, I had signed up before, but still worth it. Honestly, for $4.99, it's still worth it for the whole streaming service. So.
And have you seen they built 4 giant new sound stages that are branded as Peacock in Universal City? Yeah, I just drove past there the other day.
So, me too. I was like, what is this?
Nice.
They must be ramping up like productions or something to have 4 giant sound stages. So
yeah, because they did some cleaning out too. They canceled a couple things. I feel like they're like starting to like get the ball rolling on what they want to really focus on and what they want their brand to be. So yeah.
Oh, they canceled Queer as Folk.
Yeah. It was pretty decent. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I did see yesterday though that they added Devil Wears Prada.
Did they? Oh.
I love that. I love that. Well, you guys make sure you take full advantage of Peacock. We will continue doing that as we have another week of days to bring to you next week. But before we head out, Michael Mattis,
Yeah.
tell the kind folks where they can find you on the social medias.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at MLMattis.
Justin Hareld, what social media platform have you chosen to be the one that people can find?
Which one have you
on?
given your rose to?
You can find me on Instagram at Justin Hareld.
That's it?
Yep.
Interesting. Well, you can find all of us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days officially on Twitter. And you can find me on all social media platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, at Lounging with Tony. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another Dishin Days. We will be back next week serving up a full dish of this coming week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera Days of Our Lives. Until then, have a wonderful week. Stay a loyal fan, and we'll be back to chit-chat and gossip and take your thoughts on this week's episodes of Days. Bye, everybody. Happy Sunday. Make sure you watch Peacock.